Welcome to the print, Valentin.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for thank you for talking to us. So there is a lot of buzz regarding your book. People in India asking for translation. So my first question will be about the translation. So
I
is there possibility the translation is coming soon, anytime?
no, I don't think so. I would like it to be translated in English or in Hindi also, but the process hasn't started. So I think if people want to see a translation, they have to ask my publishing house.
So, okay, because the book is only available in French,
Yes.
so how would you describe this book in one sentence to someone who hasn't read it or like can't read it right now but wanted to know about it?
It's my personal story uh, through the Gorakhpur jail, the month I spent there, and it's also the stories of the other inmates I met there in this jail. So it's about the atrocities committed against Dalit women. It starts this way as an investigation, and then it becomes a journal, a jail journal. It's my story, but also the stories I met inside the jail, people I met inside the jail who were living in terrible and unfair conditions.
So, how many chapters the book contains, and what are the like topics or headlines of the book?
There are like I guess 12 chapters. I don't even remember, but I think there are different insights, different stories. There is the story of Dalit woman and of Sima Gautam, this Dalit leader who fought against the crimes committed in Uttar Pradesh. There is a jail story, the conditions in the jail, the people who are living there, their stories, my personal stories, and their stories. There is a story of survival, how in extremely hard conditions and when you don't really know if you will be able to go out from jail soon or not, you try to maintain yourself, to be uh, powerful, energetic, I don't know, to maintain yourself alive. So there is this story, and there is my more intimate story, what I'm thinking about when I am in jail, how I try to keep my emotions steady. But yes, I think it's essentially an immersion inside the Gorakhpur jail.
So, since publication, what kind of responses have surprised you the most? Like, what kind of surprises, like, what kind of responses you are getting?
It was published 3 weeks ago, so I don't know if so many people had the time to read it so far. Uh, People say they are speaking from France, no? So they have a Westerner point of view, and they say they didn't know that India was such a corrupted state. The justice system was so corrupted, and that the caste system was still so powerful. So for them, it comes as a surprise because the image we have in India, and which is really developed also by Indian leaders like Modi, is the one of a spiritual India, very peaceful, who tries to keep peace between the nations. It's also yoga India. And the other side, the more political side, the caste, the atrocities, what is done against minorities and Muslims, for example, in India, the cruelty of the justice system is something that is less known, and I think this surprised people in France.
So, before 2023, what was your perception of India? What
Mm.
fascinated you enough to visit India?
I had lots of stereotypes, I think, lots of cliché. I thought it was the country of spirituality, of metaphysics. I thought about India as a huge continent in which I could go and I could change myself, become somebody else. I had all these fantasies um, about India, and for me, the a trip to India was the ultimate trip. It was really a way to become somebody else, and I think lots of Westerners have this desire.
So since when did you were planning to visit India?
I don't really know. It always has been an idea in the back of my mind, but for me, it shouldn't be the first thing I do. I should have tried lots of things in my life to find a sense before I tried to go to India. So it was like the the last resort, the last
So,
decision.
so like what was your like primary purpose to visit India? Was it like for tourism, or as you said you wanted to know more about the culture, the spirituality, or like as you work on documentaries as well, or was it for documentary?
No, no. At the very beginning, the first time I came to India, 2 years before going to jail, it was just a trip. It was tourism. I came there because I was curious, and I had no professional project. I finished a documentary in France, and I wanted a little bit of free time to be able to think, and that's the spirit in which I came to India. The
Okay.
idea of doing a documentary, of having a film project about Simagotam and about the atrocities committed in Uttar Pradesh against Dalit women, it came way after. After 1 year, 2 years of knowing better India, Hindi, the Indian society.
Okay, so Valentin, can you take us back to the day of your arrest in Gorakhpur? Like, what happened to this first crucial hours of your arrest?
Hmm. I went to a peaceful protest next to the Gorakhpur prefecture, and I just show myself. And after maybe 10 minutes, the police has seen that there was a white guy in the crowd, and they came and surrounded me, and they said, Gorakhpur local intelligence, who are you, sir? Why are you here? I told them why. And after that, I came back to my hotel. I felt a little bit worried. I didn't feel this thing of all the Gorakhpur police coming to surround me, and they were very worried. The Gorakhpur police, only because they were seeing a foreigner. I was not doing anything wrong. So I came back to my hotel and I was arrested in the night. They came, they knocked at my hotel, they took me out of my room, and they directly sent me to the police station, to the Tana.
So, so you were filming the protest, you or you were like just witnessing it.
Yeah, I was just there. I was not filming anything. I was just present.
So, what do you think your arrest is because of the visa violation, the reason given by the government, or there is any other reasons
No, I
behind
think
it?
there is other reason because I was on a business visa in the name of a production company. So what they
Yes.
told after in the charge sheet is that I had violated the terms of my visa condition because I was illegally financing NGOs. I was not financing anything. There was no NGO. So I think the real goal of the protest was to make a little media buzz about how heroic police of Gorakhpur arrested a dangerous foreigner, and also a way to say that the Ambedkar Jan Morsha, this Dalit movement, was not really an Indian movement, but was led from the outside by a foreigner. And I think that was their goal by arresting me, because they didn't really have a judicial, a legal matter in which they could uh, push my arrest on.
So, you were on a business visa, right?
Yes,
And not a tourist visa on.
I was on a business visa.
So, before your arrest, how long you were there in India and which parts you have visited?
Oh, that time I was in India for 2 months, and I had visited Bihar, uh, Jharkhand, and Uttar Pradesh.
So, what were the purpose of visiting these specific regions?
It was meeting women leaders to develop my film project.
Okay, okay. So, when you entered the Gorakhpur jail, and your book is all about the Gorakhpur jail, your experience, and what you have witnessed. So,
Hmm.
what shocked you the most about the prison conditions?
Um, there was no space. The first night we were 300 people in the same barrack. That's the way they call it. And I remember that I had no space to sleep and to turn around because I could only sleep like that on the side. And I was feeling my neighbor, another inmate, snoring in my ear. It was absolutely packed with people. um, and then so the material conditions are very hard, but especially for poor people, because after sometimes in jail I had a little bit of money. I could buy in the jail, for example, a little bit more food to improve my conditions. But for other people it was even harder, because if you just get the rice that they are serving you, it's not enough to eat. So condition extremely hard. But in the same time, I think what was harder is the psychological uh, conditions, what I call the mental torture, because it was the case for me, but it's the case for 3,000 people there. They don't know for how long they are there. They have not been judged. They are just temporarily arrested, and people don't know if they are going to go out tomorrow, in a week, in a month, or in 5 years. Some people are released after 4 years. They didn't do anything. So I think this is the hardest part, that nobody knows for how long they are there.
So, how you used to communicate with the inmates?
Uh, I think like 2 or 3 inmates were able to speak English. So with them,
Oh,
I was speaking in English,
hmm.
and I forgot a little bit, but at that time I spoke correctly Hindi. So Hindi में
हिंदी में बात करते थे आप?
बात करता था.
Okay, so I was not able to read a lot the PDF you have sent because I have to translate each and every page and read. But I tried to read the first two chapters. But according to the brief of the book which I got, you have written about caste dynamics inside the jail.
Yes.
So, how visible the structure was, like discrimination among inmates? How
Mm.
visible it was?
It depends on the barrack. I remember there is one barrack where they used to put all the Muslims in the same place. And then it was very visible through caste, and also through money, for who is rich and who is poor. Some inmates were not moving out of their beds. People were doing their laundry. People were bringing them food. They're bringing them the newspaper. They're not moving at all. And others were working for a little bit of money for others, for other inmates, especially the young Muslim teenagers who are just doing everything for others, bringing water. So you can feel that some are privileged and some have not inside the jail. But then the hardest part in the jail are the guards, because, for example, to go to the mulakat,
Mhm.
to meet your family, you have to cross 3 doors, and at each and every door the guards will ask you for money. And when you come back with what your family has brought to you, I don't know, it can be food, it can be clothes, you have to pay again. So all the inmates are constantly under the pressure of the guards that are trying to extort them money. It's a very hard part of the of being in jail.
So, you just mentioned about how Muslims were treated by their other inmates. Do you find any other caste discrimination between like Dalits or the lower caste? Do you try to talk or ask their caste to them?
Yeah, people obviously they don't want to say their caste, especially if they are Dalit. But I could notice the organization of the space inside the barracks, because you have the center of the barracks where there's more space, and then you have the extremities where there is less space. And people were Brahmins in the center, and then next to the toilets where it's very dark were packed dozens of people which were obviously from lower caste. So you see how the space is organized.
Any incident which you can't forget, or you have also mentioned that briefly in your book. Any particular incident you would like to share?
There are a lot. Yeah, I've seen a man dying in the jail. Lots of people were dying inside the jail, and usually the guy that I saw dying was agonizing for hours, hours, and the guards didn't open the door to him, and this happened a lot. They don't open the doors to let people out, to bring them to the hospital. When somebody is having an heart attack, as it was the case, they just let him die inside the jail. So this is very shocking, and it's something that is very very common, to let inmates die. So this is an incident obviously I remember, because I remember all night uh, listening to him shooting, and nobody being able to bring him any help. Mm, you want me to try to remember other things, because there are a lot, obviously.
No, no. So,
It,
like, you have tell me like how inmates who were losing their life were not like taken care or given any help. But as a foreigner, were you treated differently?
as a foreigner, I had some advantages. I was treated correctly. I mean, for what it is, but I was not beaten, because lots of inmates are also beaten. I've seen that with big sticks, but I was not. And after at the beginning I was in a very bad barrack, in a very bad space, and after some point they took me to what they call the doctor house, which is supposed to be a place for ill people, but it's not the case. It's just who pays and who has privilege or not. So after 2 weeks I had a bed, and I was in bad condition but in the best place of the jail. And but obviously, why do I deserve this treatment? Why do they treat me better than thousands of inmates? For me, it's the white privilege, obviously. And
Yeah.
I know that it wasn't fair. I knew that it wasn't fair when I was inside the jail. For
Were you also treated differently from the inmates?
From the inmates, it depends. From the inmates, some helped me a lot. Some were extremely nice to me, and some tried. I don't know. In it's hard to know why in jail somebody starts to hate somebody else, but people are frustrated. They have too much time. They are in a very bad space, so they start to create problems which are unnecessary. So I've been in this kind of front. I remember one of the matter was the television, because inside the barrack they put TV at a very high sound level from 6 in the morning to midnight. It was like unbearable, because it's so loud, you cannot think anymore. And so I would ask them often to lower it, and it that could create sometimes some problems with other inmates who would like the TV being on all the time. Right, it's an example of problems we have. But you have problems, because you're hundreds of people in the same space, having the worst moment of their life. So it cannot be always peaceful.
Wait, okay. For how long you were in the jail?
For a month.
For a month.
Yes.
So, you You lived there for a month. When did you decide that your experience, the discrimination you witnessed, needed to become a book? Or when did you decided to write your experience as a book?
I think from the first day in the jail, because I thought, at the beginning I didn't know for how long I was there. For
Hmm.
me, staying only 1 month, it's a miracle, because in the newspapers after 2 days, they were saying that I was a terrorist, that I had a project to destroy Gorakhpur. Lies, obviously, but I thought maybe I will stay here for years. And the first thing I thought is, now I can testify, I can write about all the things I see, and then I can tell about it. So I think from the really first day I tried to get a pen, to get a paper, and start writing everything I was witnessing, the atmosphere, my thoughts, what other inmates were telling me, really. And then I never stopped. It was like my main, but it really allowed me to find a sense in being in jail and to resist. It was kind of a resistance to write.
Like, how did you get the bail? What was the process, or what evidence you provided?
You should ask the lawyers for the evidence I provided, and really how the case was. It was hard because the first lawyer was corrupted, the first lawyer we met. So it took time because I could not communicate with anyone, with my family, my embassy from inside the jail. So I could not arrange anything. So we took lots of time to to request bail. What have been their argument exactly, I don't know, but I guess they said that I was on a business visa. I was just seen at a protest doing nothing, so there were no clear violation of the visa conditions.
Was there any court hearings you attended?
Yes, one, yeah,
One hearing.
one hearing.
Which court? Do
Gorakhpur,
you remember?
Gorakhpur
Gorakhpur
local court.
District Court. So yeah, can you like tell me or recall what was the like hardest chapter or moment you have written, like emotionally, which was the hardest chapter or moment you have mentioned in the book?
Hmm. There are lots. I don't know when my father comes in the jail. I didn't talk with him for like 3 weeks, and I just see him going inside the jail, looking at all this weird building. He had never been in India, and surrounded by hundreds of Indian inmates. And I thought, wow, where did I bring him? It was extremely weird to see him in this environment. And for me, it was a very emotional moment. But then
Did,
there are conversations with an inmate, for example, who told me that he was innocent, and just he pretended that he was guilty to save the rest of his family, his brothers. So he pleaded guilty for murders, and he was innocent, and he would finish his life in jail probably. And we had a long discussion during the night about this, about caste system also, because he was a Brahmin. And I remember that it was a very powerful conversation.
okay, so like in the first chapter of your book, the first line read as, "I had an Indian dream like others have an American dream." Right. So, basis on this line, I would like to ask you, like, has this experience changed how you see India, and will you ever again visit India?
Yes, obviously it has changed how I see India. I have a more political vision of what is India now, and less exotic. But I think it's a good thing, because it means that I broke um, a reflection. I'm seeing more clearly what is India, and I would like to come back I don't think I can under this government. Uh, I'd like to come back when it's over with BGP, and I still love India, and I particularly admire the resistance of the lower caste here and their goodness, and I I really I'd really like to come again to meet them,
Revisit.
not under this government.
So, if you get the chance to visit again, which regions or which states you would like to visit in India, which you couldn't because of the incident?
I don't know. I've been in different places. Lots of places are extremely interesting. I'd like to go back to Kerala, to go to Jharkhand again to know better the Adivasi. I would like to come back to Himachal Pradesh, the mountains. Gorakhpur, I don't know. Gorakhpur, I wouldn't, I wouldn't know it. To meet my friends, but